Join me now from our bureau in Washington, D.C., founder of the Walkaway campaign, Brandon Straka. Brandon, the idea of Democrats having control of the Senate is terrifying. And we have AOC who says she's going to head down to Georgia and try to make a difference in that election. Do you think that AOC and the squad and any of these members are going to make a difference?
Well, I think that, they can give it their best shot, but I think what we're seeing right now is that this incredible push toward extreme progressivism and extreme, socialism and things that AOC are pushing are not really resonating much with the American people. I think this election showed us that. And I would say, we've got a lot of fire and energy on our side right now. We're seeing that, especially with what's happening right now with the contested election of Donald Trump. Patriots from coast to coast are feeling, I think, more passionate, more fired up than ever. I'm planning to go to Georgia to do a lot of door knocking. I know Scott Pressler's planning to go to Georgia too. So we've got a lot of amazing activists on our side who are going to be combating any efforts that they have. But I really wouldn't discount the fact that, the conservative movement right now is more on fire than I think we've ever been. We have President Trump to thank for that. We're not going to let that fire die, and we're not going to go down without a fight. So don't count us out for Georgia, because we're going to go in there and we're going to, make some noise.
Yeah, and you were talking about Republicans being energized, Trump supporters being energized. There's a rally that will be held in Washington, D.C. on Saturday in support of President Trump. Obviously, people are very concerned about voter fraud. We've seen several examples of it. The Trump team has their legal challenges. We're waiting for information on that. You're in Washington, D.C., and you also will be hosting an event.
Yes, absolutely. So there's a number of things that are happening this weekend that are, people are out there wanting to back up President Trump. They're wanting to fight for democracy and free and fair elections. And like I said, there's so much passion and energy right now. This has to go beyond one day. We can't just have one day of demonstration and let this sort of fizzle out. So there's a lot of marches and things that are happening on Saturday for President Trump. But my organization, Walkaway, is actually hosting a rally on Sunday morning at John Marshall Park in Washington, D.C., 10 o'clock a.m. People can go to walkawaycampaign.com for more information. But we want to get out there and keep fighting for free and fair elections, for transparency. And we want truth. And we want to know, listen, does Donald Trump deserve a second term or not? It really, the amount of momentum that came out, he got nearly 10 million more votes than he got in 2016. We're seeing a huge swing from minority communities, Black, brown, LGBT, Jewish, people that have come over to vote for President Trump. It feels very hard to believe that Joe Biden is shattering a record in the popular vote right now without these demographics backing him up. Something feels off, and so we want to go out and fight for that. So 10 o'clock a.m. Sunday morning at John Marshall Park in D.C., Walkaway campaign will be fighting for the American people.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible the amount of support President Trump has received in this election versus 2016. And you even think, for example, you're a former Democrat. Like, you didn't even vote for Trump in 2016, and this was the election that you voted for him in. And obviously, you transitioned and you had your awakening over the years. So tell us about that. And I'm sure that there are other people that have shared the same experience as you, or at least they can give credit where credit's due. And they saw all of the great things that the Trump administration did for this country when it came to jobs and national security and, cutting of taxes and regulations.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I had my moment in around 2017 after voting for Hillary Clinton, shortly after Trump took office. Basically, I began doing a lot of research trying to understand how he won the election, why anyone would vote for him, and why the media that I trusted got it so wrong. And what that journey ultimately led me to was the discovery that Donald Trump wasn't my enemy, but the media that I trusted was. And that's why I created the Walkaway campaign. And we've done so much outreach for the Black community, the Hispanic community, the LGBT community, and just anybody on the left in general, including college students, things like this. So I really believe that the outreach that Walkaway did was a major catalyst in waking a lot of people up, but it was Trump's policies that ultimately brought them over to Trump and the successes that he's seen for the American people. Now, if we look at just the exit polls that we have at this point, and I think this is going to continue to shift even more in our favor as we see what the actual breakdown of the voting demographics are, we see that we doubled the LGBT vote over for Trump. We nearly doubled the Black vote over for Trump, and a huge amount of Hispanic people have come over. And so, I mean, you look at that and you just have to ask yourself, well, how on earth did Biden get so much support? And we see this amazing shifting demographic in the Republican side. So if by some stretch of the imagination it turns out that this election was fairly, the ballots are fairly counted, then what we're seeing is, congratulations, Democrats, you are officially becoming the party of straight white people.
And you look at how the media is handling this, and they're having like meltdowns. They just can't get over the fact that 70 million plus people in this country voted for Trump. Some of them are calling like Trumpism. Some people on the left want to see like lists of Trump supporters. They don't want them to be allowed into polite society. They don't want them to hold jobs. They want retaliation against the folks that supported Trump and will go and defend him on television or work in his administration. What does that say about the left?
Well, it says everything about the left, but I mean, that's not the only thing that we have, I think, to be concerned with. As I told you, I just arrived in D.C. to participate in this big weekend that's happening this weekend, and the first thing I noticed as I got into town and my team and I were about to go out to dinner is that every business is boarded up all across the city. Now, they're not boarded up because Trump supporters are going to go out and bash windows or because Trump supporters are going to go out and do damage. We have to do this because of one political party, and that's the Democrat Party. I mean, we literally have to protect ourselves and our businesses from violence should they happen to lose the election. And now that they think that they've won the election, they're starting to take all of those boards down. So we're seeing that one political party in this country is engaging in the most nasty and uncivilized warfare, whether it be literally committing acts of violence on people's personal property or collecting lists so that they can conduct these sort of witch hunts against people who don't agree with their political ideology, just as you were saying. And so I think, they better really think twice about this because they might be able to try to steal elections. They might be able to try to steal the narrative of what's happening in reality, but they can't steal the fact that we legitimately had nearly 73 million people come out to vote for Donald Trump. Nearly 10 million more people than had voted for him in 2016. These people are not going to take this. That's an enormous block of the voting percentages that support this president and support him for a reason. So if they want to try to come after us, if they want to try to wage a war on us in some way, shape, or form, they better think twice about it because there's a lot more of us than they think there are, and our numbers are growing.
All good points, Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.